After days of haggling, on Friday the peace talks appeared to be back on track when stakeholders held their first roundtable discussions. They were closed door, mediated by the East African regional body IGAD, with participants drawn from the government, rebel side, civil society, faith-based organizations, political parties and former detainees. It's still unclear how much ground has been covered, but with the slow pace of the latest round of talks, which faltered the day after they were opened on Monday, it's anybody's guess where they are.
I believe that there is no reason to spend much of our time in discussing formalities and continue with what we have been doing since the beginning of the negotiations, talks about talks. This should change. We should do the right thing to end the suffering of the people of South Sudan. I hope this is a beginning to that path. The presence of all of you today reassures us that we will address substantive issues.
Those issues are the finalization of a transitional government and a ceasefire. IGAD had set a 10th August deadline when President Salva Kiir and rebel leader Riek Machar signed the first ceasefire agreement in early January. This afternoon off camera, a delegate from the rebel side said it would be impossible to beat that deadline, fears that were already expressed midweek by some of the stakeholders.
Of course, now that we have not yet started, it becomes exceedingly difficult to expect the deadline of the 10th to be met.
Before Friday, the delegates representing Riek Machar's rebels had been insisting on talking directly to delegates from President Salva Kiir's government, saying they were the two parties involved in the conflict on the ground. They wanted all other stakeholders sidelined to a consultative role. In June, the delegates representing Riek Machar rebels boycotted in protest of their participation. This is the 5th time since the conflict broke out that the two sides have engaged in peace negotiations mediated by IGAD. 3 previous ceasefire deals collapsed soon after signing, with each side blaming the other for violating the agreements. With growing impatience from the international community over the slow pace of progress, IGAD has threatened what it calls punitive measures if the talks fail. Jane Kiyo, CCTV, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.